I was going to ask you if you have any idea of what song I was going to put in the intro.
Oh my God. Something, I don't know, something voguey, something. Actually, I mean, it is a theme park podcast. I should probably simmer down.
You could probably guess if you thought long enough, but it's probably going to be Carousel of Progress.
Oh, thank goodness. You know me so well.
Yeah. Okay. Yay. Hello and welcome to the first episode of Park Talk with Alicia and Naynay. I am Alicia, and joining me is Naynay.
Hi! That was so good.
No, it wasn't.
Again, encore.
No, I'm not doing it again. This is a new podcast from ParkStop. It's part of the ParkStop family of podcasts. It is in addition to the normal ParkStop podcast, but we thought it would be good to get together and talk about some of the current events and news that fall through the cracks because, let's be honest, the regular podcast is mostly about Epic Universe.
And we love it.
Right. But we needed like a whole nother show to talk about everything else. Mostly it's going to be like Disney because that's the one thing I don't talk about on the normal show. We don't talk about Disney. So Naynay is here. You live on the West Coast.
Yes, so I actually live technically in Los Angeles County, but I'm more closer to Hollywood. I'm about like 10, 15 minutes away from Hollywood, which also, Universal Studios Hollywood, and I'm about an hour away from Disneyland. So I try to hit up the parks, on a bi-weekly basis. I've been trying to be better about it. I took a break for the holidays because, it's just craziness here for the holidays. But I mean, I had to go and see The Grinch a couple times. So,
yeah. So, yeah, Universal Studios Hollywood has got new things happening and a new roller coaster. So we have, you'll be our like man on the ground actually there to see what's happening. And obviously I've like never been over there, so I don't get over there. So both Disneyland, Universal Studios Hollywood, it'd be nice to talk to someone and get some of the news from over there. But like also just, some of the day-to-day news, like Figment popcorn buckets and things like that.
Which I'm so excited to get into. I don't even know why.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, first of all, I've just been like marinating with the idea of the show for so long. I mean, for as long as we've been talking about it, which has kind of been a couple months now. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy. I don't think that the listeners know that I've been an Alicia Stella stan for years. Like I was definitely a fan long before we were friends. And it's just been such a blessing that we've been able to like curate this friendship and have so much fun together. And, every time I come to Florida, we get good eats. And yeah, it's been so fun. And I'm just so blessed at the opportunity to finally be able to like sit down and, kiki about the things that we already always kiki about. Just now it's in like an organized podcast form.
I think that's where this came from, is that we would be in line for People Mover and just like gossiping about theme park news. And I'm like, this should be a podcast.
It's so good.
But yeah, wait, you have your own podcast, the Gooping and Gagging with Naynay. And I think I was a guest on that a while back. I guess that was before we were friends.
Yeah, it's true. It's kind of how we became friends because honestly, like when you have your own podcast, you always try to think of guests and who would be super iconic for you to have. And for me, I was like, I need to have the icon of all icons, Miss Alicia Stella. And I think from there, it just kind of like this little friendship was born because we had so much fun. And then the next time I was in Florida, we met up and yada, yada. But the podcast Gooping and Gagging is really great because it doesn't fully center around theme parks. It's kind of all over the place. Mm-hmm. It's mostly just a love letter to my younger self. So, whether that be theme parks or people who I look up to or my dream, celebrities or voice actors that I've always wanted to interview, it's kind of centered around that. And you just happen to be a part of that. So it's fun to actually be able to hone in on a topic, which is theme parks, and fully curate a show centered around that. West Coast versus East Coast.
Right. And yeah, and our listeners on the ParkStop podcast probably recognize you. We've had you on a few times. Some of the most fun episodes have had you included. So yeah, today we're talking Disney news. I like try to mix it up on the ParkStop podcast network here and throw in some Disney information for once because it's been a while. So we got some things to catch up on, some things in the news, and a lot of things I want to hear about Disneyland. So I guess we're going to get into it.
Let's get started. I'm ready.
The first thing I really wanted to talk about, and we don't have to talk long about it, but we need to have the airing of grievances here. after the holidays and just talk about Magic Key passes going on sale and then immediately being off sale. Because as someone where Walt Disney World is my home Disney park, I was able, like, I remember the dark ages where no one wanted to cancel their annual pass because there was no way to renew it. So we were locked into it. But those days have gone away. You can go and buy an annual pass to Walt Disney World right now. That is not the case for Disneyland.
Yeah, it's honestly very unfortunate for people who didn't come from a scarcity mindset when they first dropped the passes. I feel like I definitely operate as in a scarcity mindset all the time, which is not necessarily a good thing, but it was a good thing for the Magic Key system, because as soon as they went on sale, I grabbed mine, I locked in my place, and it's been good. But, a lot of my friends were like, well, maybe I have to think about it. It'll always be there for me. And I literally have a friend who has not been able to get it and was waiting in line at 10 a.m., waited 8 hours, and it completely sold out. And they still have not been able to get it years later. Now, it's just been, it's very tricky and it's very unfortunate. And the demand is so high. I feel like the demand is higher than ever before because there's a lot of rumors out there that Disney's created some sort of artificial scarcity, but I really don't think that that's the case. Like, the demand is there. Like,
so it's not artificial. It's actual scarcity.
It is actual scarcity. Like, it is not imaginary. Like, you look at the material and you look at the amount of people that are there. You look at how many of them are Magic Key holders. You look at the second, they release something free and how long that line is and how long it takes to get that. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. So it is unfortunately like really sad for people who are unable to kind of get in because, Disneyland is a place that's meant for everyone. And unfortunately right now we are just not in that era. But, my heart goes out. I have my Magic Key, so I'll be there. But my heart goes out to the dolls that couldn't get theirs. And I feel for them.
It's in the theme park fandom, it's always brought up like, well, Disneyland Resort is more of a locals park. And it's like, how can it be a locals park if y'all don't let the locals in? Like, you go to the calendar for your Magic Key and it's like unavailable, unavailable, unavailable.
Yeah.
You don't go on a day you have reserved and you're penalized and you're like, well, now you can't go for this many days. Ha ha ha. Like, the fact that there's actually a rule is shocking as someone from Central Florida. Like, if I wake up with like a sniffle and I'm like, I guess I'm just not going to go to Magic Kingdom today. Like, I can't imagine having to drive all the way there and scan in so I'm not penalized by the system because I woke up with a sniffle.
Yeah. It's interesting because I feel like a couple years ago, as far as how Disney saw annual pass holders was they were like, all right, this is not where the money's at. Like, it's great to have an annual pass holder system, but the annual pass holders don't spend as much as the people vacationing and yada, 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 which I totally saw that as the case because personally, I don't spend a lot of money when I go to the parks. I eat before.
I do.
I mean, we do, but we don't. Like, I don't
How
need to buy
many souffles did you have at the Epcot Festival last time?
Darling, that's a vacation for me. That may be a local park to you, but I'm going to splurge when I go on vacation at Disney World.
Okay. But technically that's a vacation. You're right. You're right.
It is. But I mean, at Disneyland, like, I don't need to buy the newest, hottest thing as soon as it comes out. I'm just kind of there to be there. But I do feel like that's shifted. And now with the day and age of TikTok and influencers, I do feel like annual pass holders or Magic Key holders are the ones spending the most amount of money. They're immediately buying all the Spirit jerseys. They're immediately buying all the hottest things. So it is kind of weird. It's like, I really do think that where the money is at nowadays is through the Magic Key system. So I don't really know how they're going to go about it. But, it's a very interesting era that we're in that we've never been in here on the West Coast.
I mean, park reservations still existing this far out after pandemic. Like, a lot of things have eased. A lot of the pandemic precautions and systems have eased. And certainly in Walt Disney World, after the holidays, everyone's like, why do we have park reservations again? Like, this is the busiest I've ever seen it. Like, you can't gaslight us into saying, well, it's to control the blah, but no, it's not to control the capacity. This is like as full capacity as it's ever been. It's just to control like pass holder, because that's what it is now. As of last week, only annual pass holders and cast members have to worry about park reservations. If you're buying regular theme park tickets, you do not have to. And I guess that's because theme park tickets technically have a date, like a set date range on them. So it's almost like acting like a park reservation, but still, Like, it's really just like they want to control how many regular tickets they can sell. So they're limiting whether or not the local riffraff is allowed in.
The reservation system has been miserable here on the West Coast. I mean, I know for you guys, I'm an annual pass holder to Disney World as well, and I can literally book a reservation day of and have no problem.
Mhm.
I have sort of enjoyed the pattern that I've noticed of having a sudden mass availability to all these dates every time that new Magic Keys are on sale, because obviously as they're selling a new product to people, they want to have all these days open. So as soon as, Magic Keys go back on sale, I go and I book all my reservations.
Is it like
and
a
it's been
false
wonderful.
sense of security? It's like, oh, of course I'm going to buy this. Look at all these days that are available. And then
1000%.
a couple months later, it gets back to reality. And it's like,
Not
you're
months.
done. I hope you enjoy. Oh, not even months?
No, they're already done. Like literally, it was just for the day of and the day after. And right now, if you go on the reservation calendar, it is just bam, done. Like I was hearing people like couldn't even get in this weekend again. So
Oh
you
my
literally
God.
have to be on the website on the exact day that Magic Keys are on sale to book all your reservations. And me and all my friends who've already had Magic Keys were doing the same thing. But I mean, we know that that's not the case in Disney World.
No, I've actually forgotten to
Yeah.
make a park reservation twice in the last few months and been like scanning my fingerprint, and it's like showing up as flashing blue, and someone comes over and they're like, did you make a park reservation? And I was like, oh no, I forgot. And they're like, here you go. I made it for you. And then I just walk in and I'm like, why is this system still here?
Yeah. Well, how has it been with park hopping? Because I know you were just there.
Okay, so park hopping restrictions lifted on January 9th. I went on January 9th. The way I used to do the theme parks was I would go to whatever park like first that I wanted to do whatever was new or like something I wanted to experience a ride early in the morning. And then I would go somewhere I want to eat lunch. Because usually I don't want to eat lunch at where I'm going. I want to go to Pizza Rizzo. And so I went to Epcot in the morning with my like regular Epcot park reservation. I was able to get a virtual line boarding group for Cosmic Rewind. I got group 3, fastest finger here, and I got on. So I got into Epcot. I did my Cosmic Rewind, and I hightailed it over to Hollywood Studios before noon and had lunch at Pizza Rizzo like a normal human person.
Incredible.
It happened. I was able to do it for the first time in years. And it's like, it almost feels like you're getting away with something. Like we've been conditioned by Disney to not expect the bare minimum. So because I can't imagine buying like a single day ticket for $115 and spending another $35 to $55 to add park hopping and not being able to park hop till 2 p.m.
Yeah.
Think about like the amount of time that is you're trapped at Animal Kingdom having done all 4 rides.
Oh my gosh. No, that's literally the only park where I'm like, I'm miserable there until 2 p.m. And I don't even say I go back to my room. I can't do it.
Because that's even enough time to have Satuli, a good Satuli lunch, do all the rides, and still be at 1 p.m. going, why am I still here? There's nothing for me to do.
That's literally what we did the last time I was there.
Yeah, that's what we did. What did we do? We went to Grand Floridian to look at the gingerbread house because we had an extra hour to kill before park hopping.
Literally. So funny.
So, yes, it's nice to be able to plan your day and actually do whatever. I saw a few people do all 4 parks in one day just because it's the first time we can in so long.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that.
Oh, and while we're on the topic, they opened up the annual pass Good to Go days last week as well, which is just complete nonsense. Where it's just like, I still have to check the calendar to see, like, I'm either going to make a park reservation because I opened the calendar, or I'm going to see that I don't have to make one. The amount of steps and clicks are the same regardless. What is this for?
I think that it wouldn't be as dramatic if it wasn't so difficult just to check the calendar, like the logging in and the opening of the app. And then you have to, be transferred on to like a website and you got to log in, password, email, to then like click a million steps just to see the calendar. I feel like if the app was a little bit more accessible, it wouldn't be such a big deal, but still it's annoying.
Well, and if this was like 3 years ago, at the height of like the actual controlling of capacity at Walt Disney World, and the parks were at 15 to 35% capacity or whatever, it would matter because you're only able to hold like 3 to 5 single park reservations at a time, depending on your pass level. And then it would matter. But now it's like, I don't need a bonus day that I don't have to make a pass because I don't need to use up all 5 of my reservations because there's only like 5 days in the entire year that you're going to actually run out of capacity. And I'm not going to go on New Year's or Christmas Day anyway, so what does it matter?
Very that. You ate that.
These are the things that I don't, what am I going to do? Tweet about it? Like, just start discourse. I don't have the time for that. So I have to vent to you, and at least now we're doing it in a podcast format. This is Park Talk. We're going to talk about the parks.
It's true. It's true. I mean, it's in the name.
You're either listening to this and nodding along like, yeah, I agree, or you're listening to this, or you're not listening to this, because honestly, but anyway, one day, all days will be good to go days, and we can all get past this. I've had a theory that this is just all a matter of pride. Like, they introduced park reservations.
I know.
And they claim this is for the betterment of the enjoyment of our guests. This is to improve the guest experience. And they're too embarrassed to admit they don't need it anymore. So they're just phasing it out slowly so it feels natural. Whereas all the other theme parks, after COVID restrictions, just got rid of it like full wholesale.
No, literally, they're like, we still need it. We still need it. Unfortunately, like, we still need it to some capacity, but they really don't. I mean, it's just...
Yeah, it's different over at Disneyland, where I don't know what's going on. Y'all...
Oh, no. We need it. We need it.
But anyway, back to, like, in some good news, ride and attraction news, the stuff I usually talk about, the stuff I love to talk about, the exciting, changing, ever-changing landscape of theme park attractions. We do have a little bit of news. The Country Bear Jamboree at Magic Kingdom will officially close January 27th, have its last shows with the current set list on the 26th. And it'll reopen this summer. And you know what's exciting about this? Is that this is a recent, was it a... Destination D announcement?
Yeah.
This is a very recent announcement, and they actually followed through on it immediately. I know it's only been a few months, but that's like, in Disney terms, on the geological scale, like timeline, that's amazing.
But do you think that that's only the case because they'd been working on it for a very long time,
and they were actually to like Zootopia, which they just came up with that day?
Exactly, because when they announced it, didn't they show like clips of like the singers in the studio singing the songs that had already been written? I'm like, okay, cool. So this is how things are supposed to be announced. You're supposed to announce something that you've been working on, and then it's supposed to debut a couple months later, not like you testing the audience and just barely like announcing like potential maybe
this isn't blue sky. This is actually happening. And I can't tell the difference anymore when they show us the concept art, because they look the same to me, whether they did it the night before, like their last minute homework, or whether they actually been working on it. Looks the same on a presentation. But no, I'm actually looking forward to this. Someone said that they've already been like, it seems like they've already been improving the show and giving the characters new outfits, like behind the scenes at nighttime, so they can get this done fast, because their clothes don't look dirty anymore. Like they're no longer like old country bears, they're modern country bears, so they're like cleaning up their appearances.
So are you saying, because for this new show, they're all getting a brand new character redesign as far as clothes and wigs go. So are you saying that they're refurbing the old outfits before they even go down? That doesn't make sense.
Someone said they looked cleaner than they usually do. Let's just go with that. I think someone brushed the bear's fur like for the first time in 30 years. So we'll see what it actually comes down to. I am very happy about this. I think this, and I'll talk about this later, I think this goes along with the list of things Imagineers have to do so they don't lose old attractions.
Yes, agreed.
Like, we're still good to get it to keep, because like the last couple changes they made was just to cut out half a song, cut out the banter in between, like make it shorter, which is like goes along with my theory that Disney executives believe that kids these days have no attention spans.
Yes.
So they just keep shortening old shows until the point where there's no reason for it to even exist anymore, and then they close it down. So Imagineers are like, hold on. Let's give it songs kids recognize today, and then they'll like the show. And it's like, oh my God, why didn't we think of that sooner?
Okay, it's very interesting because I am also that person that does not have a very long attention span. And for some reason, even this shorter version of Country Bear Jamboree has always felt a little too long just for me personally. But then I don't understand it, because I can literally sit on Carousel of Progress, and when we come back around, I'm like, another lap. I'm like, I need to do that one more time.
It's got to be like the scene changes. Like if Country Bear Jamboree changed its scenery every 3.5 minutes, you probably would like it more. It's because you're sitting there for 10 whole minutes.
I know. Yeah. So, I mean, Definitely the attention span situation, but it is such a charming show. I'm so excited for this, and truly, like, this means that we're just going to have at least another decade with the Country Bears,
Right.
maybe if not longer. So I'll take it. I love it so much. I'm so happy.
I also think it has to do with audio fidelity. I think it has to do with
Mm.
quality levels, like the Tiki Room still sounding like it was, like it just debuted on a mono soundtrack from the
Yeah.
1950s or whatever. Like this feels dated to younger generations because it literally is. You can only increase the audio fidelity of old recordings so much. Whereas a whole new soundtrack with a whole new, like, it'll finally be able to enjoy the like modern speakers that were probably installed 20 years ago that really have been playing the same scratchy record sounding sound effects. Like Blood on the Saddle is funny, but at the same time, like it sounds like an old 1930s record.
Yeah, which I mean is a part of the charm, but also did I see this in a dream, or did I read somewhere that like they were going to be less clickety clacky when they return and that they're getting like new animatronics?
Ooh.
Did you hear that anywhere?
Can
or no?
we get that for the Tiki Birds?
Oh, girl, I can't even hear the Tiki Birds sing. The entire thing sounds like someone tap dancing.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm very intrigued by that. I have not heard that, or if you dreamt that, but I do have to imagine, because it has to have a whole new programming, that it's gonna feel very fresh. And I'm excited. Yeah. Well, people know I like change at theme parks, even if it's not for the better, just because it keeps things interesting and fresh. So I'm excited. Like, I hate the Hall of Presidents, but they redid it a few years ago and it got a whole new sound system and a whole new voiceover and a whole new lighting package. And it just feels so modern that it doesn't feel like you're watching something from 1972. It feels like something that was recently produced, and it makes a big difference on the attention span of people watching it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I also love it too. I mean, even if it's something that I don't like, it's just good for the drama. I'm like, it's great for the bit. It's great entertainment. I'm like, oh, what are the dolls saying today?
Yes, Disney, burn it all down and start over, just for the fun of social media. I mean, that's not what I like about it, but still, it is part of the charm. What else is in the news? Hold on. I feel like Jay Leno in the 90s. What else is in the news? The Tiana water tower showed up at Disneyland. Scaffolding's coming down around sections in Walt Disney World. Oh, the big news headline was that a custom handcrafted weather vane was installed at Tiana's Bayou Adventure in Walt Disney World.
Girl, please. I have so many things to say about this.
Wait, we don't have enough time to go into everything.
I know,
hold on.
I'm sorry.
Do you really have lots of things to say about a weather vane? Because so do I.
I don't think that we'll have the same opinion, and I'll just shorten it into like one sentence. Actually, I can't do that. Maybe like 3 sentences, maybe 4. But just because it's authentic does not mean it's necessarily good or meant for a Disney park. And I think that Imagineering gets lost in that sometimes. I mean, I love that they put in the detail.
Not to compare it to it, but you mean like a very realistic parking lot for an Animal Kingdom attraction location where it looks so real and they're so proud of it. And it's like, you just made a very expensive parking lot that will always look old.
I'm like, the budget that went into that weather vane, I can't imagine how expensive that must have been. And yet there is no nod to the storytelling that we're doing here as far as Princess and the Frog goes. There's no little details. I mean,
what does it look like? I don't even have a picture of it in front of me.
It's just a generic weather vane that you could probably find anywhere. Like, there's nothing even like New Orleans-y about it, other than the fact that the guy who made it is from New Orleans, which is awesome and it's so authentic and I love that.
But it has also a little backstory. It doesn't have to necessarily add to anything, as long as it's realistic placemaking, and that's good for like New Orleans Square or whatever.
Yeah, but it's on a ride that like is Tiana's water whatever situation. So
she has a Tiana on her water tower. So
I'm like,
we can be a little fanciful here.
I'm like, throw a frog on there. And I mean, we can get into this later with Tiana's Palace, but they did a perfect job with Tiana's Palace and adding those little charming details, like little frogs or little crowns or something that still ties into New Orleans. But also it's like, let's not forget we're at a Disney park and it needs to be fun, you know?
You know what my favorite weather vane at Magic Kingdom is? And that was what I was going to say, is that I was going to do a video back before I started doing news videos, and I was doing hidden things around the parks. One of my things I had written down on my board was all the weather vanes in Magic Kingdom, because there's like at least 12 really good and interesting weather vanes, which is like, once you know it, it's like a scavenger hunt. Find all the weather vanes on your day at Magic Kingdom. My favorite one, Haunted Mansion. It's just a bat.
Ooh,
It's just a bat on the top of the Haunted Mansion, and it's the best one. It's so simple.
I love
It's a real
it.
weather vane. It's a bat.
No, I love it. And we have so many at Disneyland. Like my favorite is there's a TikTok rock, if I'm not mistaken, on our Peter Pan's flight. And it's a weather vane. And it's charming. It's beautiful. It's custom. You can't find it anywhere else. It's that little detail that when you look up, you notice. The Tiana one, it's kind of in a prominent spot. Isn't it going like on the little hut that is like the lift hill? I think.
Oh, I have no idea.
Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe it's going somewhere else. But anyways, moving on. That's my little tea. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's fine. It's whether or not we like it aesthetically. It is now a part of the weather vane collection of the castle parks for our country. Like we have to.
It's true.
We have to welcome it into the grouping.
It's true. Even the ugly ones. It's like there's just room for everybody. You know.
There's lots of weather vanes to go around. So originally when we were coming up with this first episode, I was thinking it was going to mostly be about all the new stuff at Epcot, because that's what was like, we got to experience some of it when you came to visit. And then right after you left, they opened up the hub area and the Dreamers Point and stuff. We don't have to talk about it too much because I wanted to get into some of your Disneyland information.
Yeah.
But overall, I want to go against the grain and say I like the new Epcot aesthetics. I like pretty much everything they're doing. I just wish we had like more rides. I wish the Imagination Pavilion obviously got an update. Sure. Like I wish that we got the Spaceship Earth update, although some people would disagree that it should have been the one that we were going to get. And maybe it's probably been the best that they're putting it off. But like, I like the Walt statue. I like the weird, I think I was hanging out with Sky and they said that they liked, it felt like a Southern California, like corporate campus.
Yeah, no, 1,000%.
Like you're at like Apple headquarters or Google or something. And I'm like, it does, but like in a good way. And I feel like that fits for Epcot, honestly, because like it used to be a World's Fair and we've kind of lost World's Fair. Like they don't happen anymore, but you know, it does happen. Big corporate campuses.
It's true. It's true.
So where different minds can come together and create really good phones. Like I don't see the problem with that. That's modern Epcot. I mean, I like connections and creations, and I think they're all fine. I let the pavilions be whimsical. Let the center be a meeting place for different people and to trade pins. It's fine. It's fine. I'm looking forward to Communicore Hall opening so we can get all those walls out of there. There's Mickey and Friends, the Communicore Hall, like multi-purpose festival space. And a little theater area. But there's also supposedly like some kind of quick service inside that building, which would make sense because there is a ton of seating areas out in that center area of World Celebration, not just next to the Starbucks side, but on the other side too. So I don't know what kind of quick service or if it's just snacks or whatever, but I would chill in there for like an hour just sitting when the weather's nice outside because there's a lot of really different looking seating areas.
Yeah, I think that like the quick service might look like something that's inside the Odyssey. Maybe like that's kind of what I'm imagining.
Yeah, I think that it's something like that, or even like what used to be in the Wonders of Life Pavilion, like where it's just a teeny tiny one stuck in there, but it's good for convenience sake if you're walking by. Yeah, we'll see. I'm certain it's not going to be the old pizza restaurant.
Oh God. Oh wait, I had also heard that Figment was gonna have his meet and greet in here, like being moved from.
Really?
I don't know, but maybe that might not be
that
true.
Idea. Let's not do that.
Child.
Keep him where he belongs. Right now, he's the best thing in his own pavilion.
That's
we
true.
don't need to take him away because then there's nothing there.
Hey, all right, let's settle down, little girl.
You're right. There's free soda.
Settle down.
There's free soda at the DVC lounge. My apologies.
Oh my God, that truly changed my life. Fun.
I saw Luminous, the Symphony of Us. We kind of joined the viewing area a little late, so I didn't have a good view of the actual like show stuff. So I could see like the fireworks and I could see the lasers. Oh my God, I love lasers. I could hear the music, but I missed some of the smaller effects. So I need to watch it again. I think I liked Harmonious more as far as music selection goes. And I don't know if is that a common opinion or an uncommon opinion? Am I the only one that liked Harmonious?
I loved Harmonious. And as someone, and here's a little hot take, and I'm going to get murdered. I'm going to get literally obliterated. So
the podcast is over before it even started. We're halfway through the first episode and we're already canceled.
So personally, when I am just in World Showcase throughout the day, I've never in my entire life turned away from the pavilion and looked across the lagoon. I don't know. I'm like, oh, like I've never, ever, ever turned away from the attractions and the pavilion to look across water.
You want to be immersed in the pavilion you're in. It's almost like a sitcom set. You're not supposed to look at the fourth wall. Because it breaks it. You're not in that country. I think Italy's maybe the only one that does a good job of making it look like, oh, that's like the Venice like canals over there. Because there's some boats and there's a bridge that kind of blocks the view of you're not supposed to see. If you turn around, all you're going to see is Spaceship Earth. Like you're gonna see the real world over there. You're supposed to face the World Showcase pavilions.
So I mean, as someone who is not there as a regular, and I vacation there, so I'm there, every other month, which is I know it's still a lot. I've never turned away. So the barges being in the middle of the lagoon, it like never affected me because I'm not looking at the lagoon. I'm looking at these gorgeous pavilions and I'm exploring World Showcase. But I do understand that, they were ugly if you were to turn. But I did love the show so much. The music was incredible. Loved it.
I really like the Mulan segment in Harmonious.
Oh,
that one really I liked the low key moments in the Harmonious more than the low key moments in Luminous. No offense to Toy Story 2, but like let's take the saddest song from any Disney movie since Bambi or whatever, and like
so funny.
Somehow make a scene. And that's talking about short attention spans. Yeah. There's it's a full sequence of a whole song with no fireworks and just a couple lighting effects. And it's like very solemn and sad and slow. And I'm looking around all the small children around me and they're running around and playing. And it's like, I can't be affected emotionally by this sad song and this somber moment without fireworks because the children are screaming in my ear because they're bored out of their mind. No offense. Like I get thematically why you're making this, big decision to do a no fireworks moment, but at the same time, I'm not sure the Toy Story 2 song has the cultural impact of lasting ability as some of modern songs. But okay,
maybe it's just a financial thing. Maybe they're just like, and we kind of are, need a moment in the show where we're not just throwing money in the air.
Well, I like the thematic elements of the show, or like it's kind of like what Spaceship Earth was going to be. Like these are our shared emotional connections for all people of the world, and it's like sometimes we're all sad, and then they play a sad song. Like you have to take the down moments, and then sometimes we're all happy, and it's like I have to watch it again. But I emotionally, I like where they're going with the show, but personally, it's not my favorite songs selections.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely. For sure. I mean, I've only seen it on YouTube, so I really can't speak on it because I remember the first time I watched Harmonious on YouTube, I was like, okay, that was cute. And then when I saw it in person, I passed away. Like it was so good. Like the music was like vibrating into my soul because I was standing right next to the speaker.
I think by the third time I saw Harmonious, I was like bawling at one point. I was like, okay, Harmonious, you got me. Yeah. And then maybe the third time Luminous, maybe it'll do the same thing. So, I still need, I also could barely see like the center thing that came out and spit fireworks. I need to see that again because I was like, wait, what's happening? That thing is spitting fireworks everywhere. I need to see that again. I'm just happy that the mortars around the World Showcase got to be used again. That's
what
is that?
What's a mortar?
It's like these giant rocket launchers on the land that shoot toward the center.
Oh,
it's how we killed the octopus in Harmonious at the end.
Oh, I love those. They used to do those at the end of Harmonious, didn't they?
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's how we killed the octopus.
Oh, got it.
So. And the other thing I wanted to mention was the Hatbox Ghost placement, which I've already been canceled on Twitter. I think is fine.
Period.
I think it's fine. I think, and this is a theme talking today about short attention spans. I know why. I mean, I was upset too. I know why people are upset that its location ruins the thematic storytelling for the Haunted Mansion, but at the same time, I don't care because it looks good. It's impressive. It's fresh. I think this is my theory, as I hinted at earlier. Ooh. I wonder, like, yes, I do think it was cheaper to put it there than to have to reinforce the balcony after the attic scene. I do think that's the main reason why. Don't get me wrong, but I have to wonder if part of the calculation was, what if they're worried Haunted Mansion's first half is too boring? And if we're going to put something fresh and new and exciting and animatronic to the attraction, maybe stick it in that boring first half. This is my concern, because a lot of the changes happening around the older classic attractions are for one of two reasons. One, they're insensitive and they need to be updated for a modern society.
Yes.
Or two, they're adding something to spice up the attraction, to plus the attraction, to make sure that it lasts forever and that younger generations appreciate it the way that older generations did.
Yeah.
And I think there is something to be said about adding something a little spicy to the beginning of Haunted Mansion so that kids don't check out and start using their phones.
Yeah.
Because that is right about the part where it's like, it's just banging on walls, like doors are knocking, which, like, if you're really young, is super scary. And if you're older, you can appreciate the subtlety of it. But if you're in between, you're probably waiting for something interesting to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I've only seen videos. I haven't been able to see it in person yet. I think it looks cute. I'm not like a Haunted Mansion stan in the sense of like everything needs to be. So, it's cute.
It is technically my favorite ride of all time. I think it is, and it has always been the most impressive. And I have always appreciated its like build up, because it starts with like not having the ghosts visible. And then by the end, there's a literal like giant party in a graveyard. And there's so many ghosts, and like the projections in the background make it feel like there's even more ghosts coming. Like, I get the story of it, but like at the same time I also get upset at like little changes, like the paintings being like the new lightning effect, and then trying to incorporate the photo flash into the lightning effect, and some lighting is LEDs now and it doesn't match the old lighting, and some things have moved to projections or whatever. So like every time they make a minor change, I'm the one complaining that it's getting modernized, but it still remains the best and most impressive attraction of all time. So even with this change, I'm saying it's fine. It's still the best. You know what change I'm tired of? I want Captain Jack Sparrow removed from Pirates. I think we're done with that. I think we're ready to move on. That feels very temporary to me in the like longevity of the Pirates ride. We're probably going to reboot that whole franchise, and Captain Jack Sparrow is very 2000s-y to me, whereas the Pirates attraction is timeless.
I was going to say, I was like, well, what's bothering you about him being there? But I can see that. He kind of like takes you out of like the timelessness of the attraction. You're like, and now we're in 2005.
Right. Everything about it feels like it's in a time period, except Jack. And like, especially when the characters that were already there before are talking about Jack Sparrow, that is the weirdest. Like hearing the audio, we're like, don't tell him. And it's like, where's Captain Jack Sparrow? And then it turns to like old audio from 1950, whatever. Yeah. And it's like, and then it's like, you get to the next scene. My only problem with the auction scene is that it sounds too good and modern. Like, I feel like they have to downgrade the quality to match it.
Yeah.
But like, they got rid of Barbossa's gone, right? Like the ship versus the fort thing, I didn't even notice, is back to like the way it used to be. Like they've been slowly pulling out, like the fog curtain effect was removed several years ago, with the tentacle guy, whatever his name is.
Yes. Davy Jones.
Davy Jones. They've been slowly, the mermaid skeleton is gone. The mermaids swimming are gone. They've been slowly pulling out a lot of the modern stuff and making it more timeless again. So let's get Jack Sparrow out of there.
I love that. Are you for them replacing him with someone with a new animatronic of the new like trilogy or whatever they're making, or no? You just want it to go back to?
No, I want to go back. I like the idea, because right now it's almost too much of a straight narrative. I think it needs to go back to, it's like you're walking through a dinner party and you catch little different snippets of conversation. Because right now it has it's a 3-act structure of Jack Sparrow escaping, getting a map, and finding treasure. And because of that, we're losing the just listening in on different things because we're too paying attention to what Jack's up to.
We need to
get back to the original concept.
I love it. I can't wait to see what they do with it, because he is not aging well, at least here in Disneyland.
Well, there in Disneyland, he might just show up in person, so you never know.
That's true.
Okay, so speaking of Disneyland.
Yes. I would love to get into some things. So obviously, Adventureland Treehouse is now open. It is wonderful. It is delicious. I have too many good things to say about it. I think the first time that I experienced it was a little overwhelming. I went like the weekend it opened, and I was with I don't know. Do you know Guy Selga?
Yeah.
Yeah, the iconic Guy Selga, which walking through any attraction with Guy Selga is like delicious because he just tells you everything and anything. But
like having audio commentary for life.
No, literally. I mean, that's the same thing as hanging out with you in Disney World. It's like the best. It's like, oh, wow, here's a bunch of information that I didn't ask for, and I love it.
Sorry. That's just, it's a side effect of being my friend.
No, it's honestly so good. And so, yeah, so the first time I went on it, there was a queue and a line, and there was like cast members positioned throughout and pumping people in. So you couldn't really like stop and absorb every scene because there's so much kinetic energy throughout this tree. It's incredible. But I've been on it about 4 to 5 times at this point, and last time I went on it was last weekend. And, you know, it's not aging the best, unfortunately.
Already?
There's a couple scenes where I think that they didn't create maybe like a canopy or anything over it, so the elements are just kind of destroying it. There's one scene in particular on your way back down where there's like a little nook where there's a record player and a little chair, and it was just obliterated last weekend. Like I was shocked. And you know, the little water feature, the wheel situation, not the wheel, but the little bamboo things that go round up the tree, that wasn't working. But the point is that even when
it's off half the time over at our original Swiss Family Treehouse. Which is funny because all the other ones are still moving, and it's like, wait a minute, this isn't real.
It's like, how are they getting water up here?
How is the rest of the water working if the cups aren't moving?
But regardless, it is so charming. It is so beautiful. It is so wonderful. And I feel like it is definitely just a love letter to old Disneyland. And it's great. It's great.
And that's kind of like what I was saying about Pirates. This is a thing that was like got I want to say temporary, but it was not. Tarzan took it over, right? Was that the late 90s? It must have been.
I love Tarzan Treehouse.
Or no, it was early 2000s. So like 20 years of your Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse became Tarzan's Treehouse. And that's something that eventually they're like, okay, let's make it go back to timeless. And instead of just turning into Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse, it's almost like inspired by Swiss Family, but really it's a like Society of Explorers and Adventurers inspired attraction. So it's just a full-on pure Adventureland attraction now.
I was waiting for the hype to die down so that I could actually enjoy each scene without being pushed to the next. This last weekend when I went, there's the little boys section, which is kind of like has all the pets and all the like moving things. I was just there by myself I literally counted 7 whole minutes without anyone near me or passing me. And I was really able to like fully digest that scene because it is so beautiful. And there are so many moving parts and little animatronics and the monkey and the little fish and the jumping frogs. And it's so beautiful. But yeah, definitely the hype has died down. But we need little attractions like this at Disneyland because it just brings to the charm,
We haven't mentioned the ostrich.
Jane, she's super, super cute. And one thing about Jane that I love is that her animation is not as predictable and kind of has like different modes, which I don't know if a lot of people have noticed. She's kind of like stationed in this weird little corner where she has like an A side that she can interact with and a B side. And it almost feels like there's like a little track switch under her where she'll do like a couple sets on this side and then she'll duck under and she'll be down for like literally a good minute.
Maybe there's 2 of them back there.
No, there's not because okay. Let's not get into how I know that, but I had my platforms on. I'm a little tall, and I just had to just.
This is the type of like park talk gossip that I need because like that's my first theory would be maybe there's 2 heads, but no.
Yeah, so she just like I mean I don't know if there is a track switch, but she does move to the other side, and then she'll do some interactions on the other side, which I think is so cute. And she's amazing. She's delicious, and that just goes to show you don't need this really impressive audio animatronic with moving lashes. Like she's literally just a static figure.
I was gonna say it's just bobbing, right? There's not. She doesn't
just
blink.
Bobbing.
She doesn't move her mouth.
Nothing,
She
and
just
it's
bobs.
enough. And it's enough. That is good. It's
She
so
also
good.
feels old fashioned. She feels like a sculpt from Jungle Cruise. Like she feels like it was developed and designed like on a Mark Davis type style.
Yeah, I mean, I know that Garner Holt did all the animatronics or the moving figures, which I feel like, they do amazing work, but they are kind of accustomed to doing campy animated, animatronics. So it was great to see realism in the form of these animatronics. It's so great. It's so great.
Her bobbing reminds me of the end of Seven Dwarfs Mine Train with the dancing Snow White just
Yes.
bobbing along. Like it's that.
Dude.
Like I don't know. It's when animatronics learned how to bob at Disney parks. That's what I like. I'm kind of amazed by it. It's like they still do the like robot arm thing. Like if you watch a Hondo Anaka talking and he's still doing the like Wicked Witch robot arm thing that we've been doing for the last 30 years or whatever. But for some reason, the bobbing Snow White and Ostrich, like I totally buy it.
Snow bobbing and that little shake and go Party City bob is giving every single time. That wig is everything. I love it. So so the treehouse is there. It's amazing. I love it so much. And moving on to Tiana's Palace. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about this because I'm all about this is a quick service.
It's a quick service, but a character dining hybrid, which is so weird. And I don't know if this is just because it is new or if this is going to be a regular thing. I feel like it may just be because it's new. Yeah. But Tiana, this is the first quick service dining like experience that I've ever experienced in any Disney park where there is a character encouraged to walk and bob and weave through the tables and interact with you as you're eating. But then also she has the free range to leave and to go and explore all of New Orleans. So I've eaten here about 5 separate times. And of the 5 separate times, I've seen Tiana every single time.
Wow.
And 3 of the times she was interacting as we were eating. And in 2 of the times she was interacting as I was waiting in line outside before I was going in to order. So it is so wonderful. It's so beautiful. The food.
What do you get there?
So I've almost tried absolutely everything except for this one item, which I think is so funny. Tiana that day, she was feeling a little spicy, but I was like, what do I eat? And she was literally actually giving me the full rundown of what to eat and what not to eat, which was so funny because in character, she was like, I think it was I don't know, there's a beef sandwich. And she's like, I'm still working on that recipe. I don't think it's ready for you to try yet.
Oh my God.
And I was like, what was wrong with it? And she's like, she's a little dry. She's just a little dry. And she was like, I wouldn't get that one. I'm still working on it. I'm still working on the kinks as every good cook does, which I just thought was so real and so fun. It obviously depends. But of course, I do think that part of it was because Tiana and I have some mutual friends. And I think that she knew that I would have found her and read her down if I ate something that was not that great. So I think that maybe that was just a personal thing for me, but she said it out loud with her character host standing next to her and with other people in line. So anyways, what I have there is I always get the house gumbo. It is amazing. Okay. And I love gumbo. I've been to New Orleans many times. I've had the most authentic of authentic gumbos. I love the South. I make gumbo. And this is a very solid gumbo for theme park quick service.
Wow. Okay.
Very solid. It is spicy. And it is great. I think that what you could skip is the beignet. The beignet is just not really authentic, to be completely honest. I don't think that Disneyland has really mastered the beignet personally. But their sides, their mac and cheese is great. They have an amazing Cajun spiced mac and cheese that was only available as a kids menu offering. But they heard us out because every single time I was just like, oh my gosh, I just want the mac and cheese as a side. Like, I don't want to get an entire kids menu. And they're like, we're working on it and we've heard that feedback. But, as of right now, if you want to try the mac and cheese, you have to get an entire kids meal. Mm-hmm. And so I was doing that. But this last weekend that I went, I was so excited and happy to see that the mac and cheese has been added as a side and you don't have to get an entire kids meal. So it's great that this restaurant is evolving. They're listening to the customers. They're listening to the people. It's progressing. It is so wonderful. The ambiance is wonderful.
I really want it. Like, I know there was rumors, and I don't know if they're rumors or just hopeful speculation that our Pecos Bill would be turned into this restaurant because it's near. And like, we kind of get almost a a New Orleans mini land for our Tiana ride. And I want that to be true because this feels like Pecos Bill is not good. It is not a good quick service location. I mean, Magic Kingdom's already got some of the worst food of all the parks in Walt Disney World. But like, that one is like, I keep giving it a chance. And every time I'm reminded that it's just, and no offense, garbage. So I would love like the theming in this, like the completely different food offerings from this location. Like, it sounds right up my alley, and it's exactly, I don't know if they're going to do it. They haven't done it yet. So like, it doesn't like, maybe if they add more like beyond like Big Thunder Mountain to that area and they can stretch backward, maybe we get it back there. It's entirely possible. Like the behind Splash Mountain gets a restaurant someday, but like, this is one of those things like added to the list. Like I want to go to Disneyland for like the simplest stuff. I just want to go have gumbo at Tiana's Palace.
It is very fun.
So what else?
So Fantasmic is coming back, obviously, and there's things that are confirmed, there's things that are rumored, and this is just like what I personally think. The show is coming back. This is confirmed with the Peter Pan segment replacing Pirates back. And apparently there is a new dragon contingency, which contingency, for those of you who don't know, is like a B mode for something that's like kind of temporary. So we'll see, but there's lots of new safety protocols and training for the cast.
Yeah, because in case anyone hasn't heard, what exactly did happen?
Basically, from what I heard, was that it was a cast error because it's so much to get into, but you know, each piece of mechanic at Disney has its own thing called an Apex, which is kind of a monitor that gives you the current health and status of the machinery that you're operating. And basically, there was an obstruction lodged in the tube that pumps out the lighter fluid that gets launched to create the fire effect. Okay. So the cast decided to run it anyways and to just kind of run the show regular, and hopefully whatever was caused and lodged in the tubing would just be kind of pushed out as the lighter fluid was, pumped out like a fountain. But instead what happened was the lodging had the lighter fluid just drip everywhere, and it wasn't able to like shoot out properly. And so when the lighter mechanism turned on, the entire thing just went up into flames because she was just drenched in lighter fluid. And if you go back and watch the video, you can see her dripping in lighter fluid before her allegedly
that's what happened. But yeah, that does make sense based on what we saw.
I think that the new dragon contingency is just going to be an extended scene with the Maleficent face character, which is great because it's better than just having a water screen turned on, which is what we used to have back in the day as a B mode. I think that the fire will still happen in the lagoon, but I don't think that.
But no more dragon fire is what I mean.
No, girl.
Because like surprisingly, we, our float, our afternoon 3:00 parade float caught fire. Yeah. Because Maleficent Dragon, not the best luck with its fire, and it came back. I saw it the other day going around like Frontierland, and I'm like, it's good to see that dragon breathing fire again, that weird gear-filled steampunk dragon breathing fire. So it made me think of Fantasmic and how, like, if your all's doesn't come back with the fire, I'd be kind of sad. But I also understand, like, safety. I don't mean to make a joke out of that, but I actually mean it.
I will say that the park has been truly magical without Fantasmic, and I feel like a lot of people...
I always forget it's just there in your like lagoon area of your normal rivers. Like it's like people have to crowd around. There's been like a hub show over like in the like Frontierland. Like that's just so weird to me.
It's great. There's been no congestion at night. You've been able to ride the Mark Twain at nighttime with, the lights are all on it and, the band's on there playing, and it's just been magical. So I would personally love for Fantasmic to just be a summer show. I know I might get murdered for saying that, but, it is what it is. I think Disneyland and like the rivers of America are so beautiful and charming and magical at night, and we don't really have that charm with Fantasmic.
Right. Everyone's like staking out their spot.
Oh, God, it's so bad.
Speaking of Tiana and the Splash Mountain redo, we're actually going to do a separate ParkStop premium episode over on Patreon when we're done with this. So when the hour is up, we're going to continue the conversation and talk about some rumors and our thoughts on the ride, because it is opening this year, supposedly, at both Disneyland and Walt Disney World. So join us over there. But before we wrap up today's inaugural episode of Park Talk, which, by the way, I must reiterate, this is not replacing our normal ParkStop podcast with me and Ian. However, Ian might become like a guest on Park Talk, and you can still be Naynay can still be a guest over on the show with Ian and I. So we're just a family. We're a ParkStop
It's
fam.
So good.
But one last topic. Figment popcorn buckets, which we don't even have to really talk about it. I just first I brought it up as a friend. Do I need to buy you one of these when I go in 2 weeks?
Please. I mean, if you did, I would love you forever. If you didn't, I would still love you forever. But like, I'm begging. Like, I am on my knees.
Here's the thing. I've just looked at the calendar. I'm not going for 3 whole weeks. So if you have
Jesus
another friend
Christ.
going sooner, have them buy it for you. I will check in on you the night before. If you still haven't got it from someone else, I will get you one. It does look good. I have no interest personally in a popcorn bucket, but the was it last year or was it 2 years ago? The first Figment popcorn bucket, his mouth looked so weird.
His body looked weird.
It's true. He's just a squatty little Figment, and I couldn't get past how, because you have to make it a popcorn bucket. You have to stick popcorn into his brain. This is kind of beautiful, and we didn't even know it like lit up different colors. It's well constructed. It's got Figment inside of it. Like I'm not saying I'm going to buy it because I have enough junk on shelves, and I'm like, Jen already hates me for all the clutter I have around the house. But good on them for making a popcorn bucket that's actually really pretty.
It's gorgeous. And I want it because my favorite memory in Epcot is having like bottomless Diet Cokes with you up in that little glass pyramid. And it's literally a popcorn bucket of endless Diet Cokes. So I need it. Now
you're making me want one too. That's true. That is true. I do like hanging. It's a great place to just hang out up there. But now we have, as long as the weather's nice, now we also have World Celebration to hang out. We got new memories to make out in front with the weird campus seating. So the discourse on social media, of course, was as long as we keep queuing up to buy Figment popcorn buckets, they'll never need to invest in redoing the Figment ride, because why would they have to? It's working already to just fleece us Figment merchandise. To which I would usually just say, like, I'm pretty sure the marketing and popcorn bucket department is separate from Imagineering, and they have their own budgets, and they just know what we'll buy. Like, this is just what we'll buy, regardless of whether or not Figment's ride is good. Why not both? It's the GIF. Like, why not both? Why not? We could redo the Imagination Pavilion and also have way too much Figment merchandise. Did you see that bag? What is that bag?
Girl, the bags are killing me. They're so good.
What is it? Looks like a lunchbox. Is it a backpack? What is it?
Yeah, well, you're talking about the backpack looking one, right?
Yeah, the one with the handle on the top, and it's got the little like rainbow and the Figment.
I don't know, but I need it. Like I literally
You don't even know, but you need it.
I don't know, but it will be mine, and that is that on that. Period.
Oh my God. Well, I'll buy you the popcorn bucket, but I don't even know.
No, I just need the bucket. What I really need is just the bucket. But I mean, if I was there, I'd have it all. Period.
Okay. I mean, here's the thing. Like, I wonder if Disney worries that they go and invest a bunch of money into like redoing the Imagination Pavilion. They get a new voice actor to play Figment, and somehow people hate it. And then the merch stops selling. And like, maybe they're trapped in this like predicament. I do think that the new meet and greet is wonderful. And I do like the look of the park maps for Epcot right now. Remember park maps? They still exist at Walt Disney World. The park map for Epcot right now has the Figment meet and greet character on it. And it's the best looking park map I've gotten from Disney World in like years. It's so beautiful. Usually I like it when just the icons are on the front, like, you know, just Spaceship Earth, and it's pretty lighting. But like Figment looks great. He's like, good for him. His ride may suck, but the meet and greet is doing good. And he's got a nice popcorn bucket. He's doing fine. He's fine.
He's fine. We love Nigel too. I mean, come on. He's iconic.
I think people would actually be sad. It's the strangest thing where the ride is so terrible, but we would be nostalgic for Dr. Nigel Channing if they got rid of him.
Yeah. It's me. I would be sad. I'm people.
You're people. But looking at the 720, if that, it might even be 480 Laserdisc playing the intro scene on that weird like shape for that first scene, or like the different senses or whatever. Yeah. It's so low quality. It's so terrible. And the CG for Figment is so bad.
The one projection that still has like the square. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like
they fixed it. They fixed it.
They did?
Yeah, it was on the far left one. I was noticing, I was like, oh, they got it perfectly cut out right now. It's looking good. The animatronics were updated when the new Figment meet and greet came out. So like he's bouncing to the song or whatever, and his mouth movements match the voiceover perfectly. Like, they did the bare minimum for that ride.
And we'll eat it up.
They changed his sweater for the holidays. What more do you want?
But they did it. Did they do it this year?
Yeah, they did it this year. They put him in the blue holiday sweater.
Wow.
That is another thing too about World Celebration. At nighttime, it is like a completely different experience, and everything's glowing, and the ground is glowing, and it matches Spaceship Earth's like LEDs. And as much crap as the Epcot purists are giving Epcot, new Epcot, I know they love that. Yeah. And it's like, you can't, I know you want to complain about like the soul of Epcot dying, but I do think like when I was little and I'm walking out of Epcot and the ground has little sparklies from fiber optics, that little bit of magic, like I would like I tell my parents, I'm like, Mom, Dad, do you see the sparklies? Do you see the sparklies? And they're exhausted and they've spent all the money they've ever had in their life today. And they're just like, we need to get back to the hotel room. And I'm like, Mom, Dad, look at the ground is lighting up. And they look at me and like that moment stuck with me for years, for like 30 years later. And this now leaving Epcot and seeing all the like LEDs and like the matching the music and doing that. And I'm realizing that's going to be the same thing for a lot of little kids. They're going to be walking out of Epcot having this magical moment. And it helps that you're exhausted and delirious and half aware of reality. But I think it's a modern take on exactly the same thing. I think Epcot is going to be what it was for me for the next generation. And like, we just have to get over ourselves that it's not exactly the same as our childhood.
Definitely. I mean, I'm very excited to see it next time I come out. So I can't wait.
I think you'll love it. I mean, as long as there's souffles there for you.
Oh God, please. I need it.
I don't think that survived to the Festival of the Arts. I think it only lasted the last three festivals.
Well, no, it's technically the Disney 100 booth. So as long as Epcot's still celebrating Disney 100, it's still going to be there, I think.
I didn't see it in the whatever. They took away my almond frommageon cake and I'm mad.
Oh, the rainbow one? I know I know.
But it's okay. We still have the rainbow figment cake with this exploded Skittles on top, so it's all good.
Yay.
Okay, so this wraps up our first episode of Park Talk. Please join us over on patreon.com/themeparkstop. We're going to talk about Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Mm-hmm. Naynay, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you on the internet?
So my Instagram, which is probably where I'm most active, is @withnaynay. Go and follow me there. And then, if you want to listen to some more podcast goodness, you can always listen to Gooping and Gagging with Naynay. And Alicia's on an episode too, so it's so delicious. Yeah.
Maybe we need to do another one. That was a little while ago.
I know. I need to get back on there.
I never talk about where I am, but y'all can find me on the hellscape that is Twitter. Is what I was going to say. The hellscape that is the website formerly known as Twitter. At Alicia Stella. I don't know why I'm still there, but I love it, and I hate that I love it. I'm trapped there. It's for all of eternity. Anyway, thank you all so much for listening to the end.
Yay!
And we'll hopefully be doing this more often, every once in a while. We'll talk about news.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.